Toronto condo prices are now down 14% from March 2022. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because more recently, the condo prices have been a little bit sticky. We definitely haven't seen any growth and sales volume was low, but sellers and buyers just really weren't coming to a conclusion on what they believe the true pricing was. Well, things have now changed. Condo prices have gone down for several months in a row in Toronto. I'm going to show you what the charts are actually saying. And then for us as a team that's very active in this segment of the market, I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing on the ground level right now, which will eventually show up in the data in 30, 60, or 90 days. My name's Tom Storey. I run a real estate team here in the city of Toronto. Thanks so much for being back on the channel. If you enjoy this video or learn anything new, make sure to like and subscribe. I want to get right into it today. So what we're going to show you is a full chart breakdown showing you average price since basically the peak of the market, what's happened with the Toronto condo market. Then we're going to talk about sales volume, months of inventory, and show you the most up-to-date numbers for the condo market of September 2024. Okay, so what we are looking at here is basically an average price breakdown. I'm going to show you kind of what exactly has happened, but then more recently, I'm going to go over here and show you what's happening right now. Because we're finally starting to see in 2024, condo prices actually drop off in a somewhat, I guess, significant way. So if you go back to where this all started, and we all know what happened here, $831,000 was the average sale price for a condominium apartment property in the city of Toronto. Of course, as rates started going up, that number dropped down. It jumped up a little bit and kind of went up and down a few times. It had previously bottomed out in January 2023 at $708,000. And then 2023, the beginning of that year, if you guys don't remember, was actually pretty good. It went up several months in a row. Then, of course, we had the 2 rate hikes in the summer. It dropped down again. This would be end of last year. So typically it would drop off an average sale price. And then to start this year, the first 3-4 months were surprisingly good. And then the inventory came to the market. And we talk about months of inventory all the time, but what I always want to kind of get across is that months of inventory only matters if you have that much inventory for an extended period of time. So to see prices go up or down, you need to have low inventory or high inventory for usually over 4 months in a row. And that's where we are today. That's where we are in today's market. I don't necessarily think it's going to change anytime soon. Since April, we have seen a dip every single month. Now, these numbers are going to show you all the way to August, but I can already tell you the August number was $681,000 average price, which actually from the peak would have been down 18%, I believe. The September numbers jumped up a little bit to, I believe, $707,000. But to put that into perspective, the last time we were around that average sale price was what was previously a bottoming out moment of the condo market in 2023. So here's what's going on with average sale price. And yes, technically prices did go up in September. I would have been really concerned about the market if prices didn't go up in September, just because like August historically is not a good month to be selling any type of real estate. Now let's talk about how many transactions are actually taking place. So again, this kind of lines up to what you've seen. If you look at March of 2022, over 2,000 condos sold that month. And then it kind of bottomed out as rates went up. And then you see the transactions jump up again when the market was high. It's very interesting actually to see, like when average price goes up or peaks out, transaction volume is also very high. Because I know sometimes when there's low transactions, we would say, well, there's not enough transactions to actually get a sense of the market. But in both these times, it was clear that like people were buying and prices were moving upwards. And then you can see more recently coming back into 2024, because April's when the condo market actually started to shift in terms of sales volume and average price. Because up to that, we were building up in the new year like we typically do. April, 1,300 sales. May, just below that, then down to 1,000, then down to 1,000. We get to August and it's under 1,000. And September was slightly up again. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the month of inventory trend since the rates started going up and since they started going down again. And this is probably the most telling chart that you've seen. Look at how low inventory was at 1 month of inventory in February 2022. Then we got to here and we were at 3, but still March of 23, 3 months of inventory still relatively is a fairly good market. But then as we continue to build up here, 3, 4, August, 4.8. But now if you look at the city of Toronto for September for the months of inventory, it's actually closer to 7. So what those charts are showing us is that average sale price has come down several months in a row. I do believe that based on our current inventory levels, even with rates coming down, even with new mortgage rules kicking in at the end of the year, and I'll get to that at the end of this video, I do think there's more room for prices to fall for the rest of 2024 for condo prices. And when I say that, I still fully understand that it doesn't mean prices cut in half or go down 30%. They'll fall a little bit. You know, housing is still going to be somewhat unaffordable for many people that are trying to enter the market. It's not going to be this monumentous crash in prices, but I do believe at where we currently are with inventory, you're going to see it push down a little bit further. Now I want to show you exactly what happened in September for different areas of the city of Toronto and generally just what's going on and what trends you would need to know. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is public data, by the way. You can go to Google, type in TRREB Market Watch. You can download this for yourself every single month. It breaks it down into sales, dollar volume, average price, median price, new listings, active listings, average list to sale price, and average days on market. And we're only looking at condo apartments because that's what this video is focused on in September of 2024. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I focus a lot on CO1 right here and CO8 right here. So CO1 is downtown Toronto, west of Yonge Street to Dufferin, north to Bloor, south to the water. This number here kind of pops out, but over my years of looking at this number, it's very, very rarely been that high. So 1550 divided by 204 sales, that would give us, again, an inventory of like 7.5. Now, the properties that are selling are getting 99% of what they're asking for, but the percentage selling is still very, very low. Like it's under 15% are finding a buyer every single month. So if you're a buyer or a seller, what you also need to know is for the ones that are actually selling, on average, they're taking 32 days. Now, what's kind of more telling, and this is the east end of downtown, so this would cover areas like Distillery District, Cabbage Town, Canary District, basically east to the DVP, is CO8. Now, CO8, there was 91 sales that happened. If you go across here, you can see there's 911 listings at the end of the month and only 91 sold. 911 divided by 91 is 10. That means we are sitting at 10 months of inventory for the east end of downtown Toronto for condominium apartments. That is the highest that I have ever seen that number. So this far into the video, what I'm showing you is not necessarily great if you're an owner of real estate. Perhaps if you are a buyer, you're thinking, wow, okay, things have actually dropped off. Prices are much more affordable from what they used to be. Relative term, I know. Properties are selling under asking and they're taking longer to sell. But also people are saying, well, you know, Tom, it looks like prices could continue to drop if this inventory remains. Why would I buy now? Why wouldn't I wait? And it's a great question. And I'm not here to answer that for you. What I will tell you is that we're helping tons of people right now buy condos under one condition. It's exactly what you want. You're not settling for it. It's a 9 out of 10 minimum. And you're going to own it at least for the next 5 years. And even though there is a lot of inventory on the market, I will say like maybe there's 20 to 25% of the active listings that would even be something I would want to send to our clients, because a lot of these listings on the market are still investor inventory that they're trying to move at prices that I think are listed way too high. No, I don't believe we're going to see any change in 2024 in terms of upward pressure on prices. It's just not going to happen. But let's wrap this video up by talking about what could happen in 2025. And let's be realistic about it, because I don't think it's going to like magically change overnight. What typically happens at the end of the year is that all the listings that didn't sell by December 15th are taken off the market. So you actually see a ton of the active inventory leave the MLS at the end of the year, with sellers thinking, okay, I just didn't get my price, I'm not selling anymore, or I'm going to wait for the market to get better to relist that property. So that's the first thing that is going to happen. It's not it might happen, like that literally happens every single year. So just right away, the inventory will be cut at the end of the year. As we go into January and the new mortgage rules kick in, and I'm not even really talking about the insured mortgage cap, I'm just talking about the first-time home buyers getting that 30-year AM. We have talked to a lot of our clients that are still currently renting that they're like, okay, if this helps me get in, I'm open to having a conversation about it. So I do think this will create some level of demand, plus the fact that the interest rates are coming down. So now you can borrow money for cheaper, and your monthly payment is going to be less because you're pushing out the amortization. Again, I've said this a million times on this channel. I know you pay more interest over the life of the mortgage, but first-time home buyers don't live there for 30 years. It helps them allow themselves to get into the market, and maybe the prices go up at some point in the future. We're all very short-sighted in what's happening in the real estate market. Like, we have to think long-term. So what I think is going to happen is next year is not going to start with a bang, but the first thing that will happen is that there's going to be nothing on the market in January just because they haven't come back yet. With the new mortgage rules, the lower mortgage rates, properties will start being absorbed at a faster rate because the months of inventory to start every year is a little bit lower. I don't think prices are going up yet. I still think that's going to take quite a long period of time. But I think interest, absorption rate, transaction volume will slowly start moving up again. And then potentially in the future, and I still think probably not till like end of 2025, you'll start seeing pressure on prices going up again. But that's just my best educated guess. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, home is where your story begins.